Hi everyone, this is Matt. Welcome back to Touchgrass Gardening, where we talk about rare, exotic, and fun trees growing in a harsh environment. And today is December 1st, so it's winter. And a lot of fruit trees, they look kind of sad when winter comes. But today I want to talk to you about the 4 fruit trees that I think look amazing throughout all of winter. And these are trees that I wish I planted even more varieties of, so I want to share it with you today so you can think about what you want to put in your yard to look great all winter long. So the first tree I want to talk about is the Loquat, and this is one of the most cold hardy evergreen fruit trees that there is. So this will get down to 15 degrees Fahrenheit. It'll have snow on it. It doesn't care. It's just super cold hardy, and it still puts on flowers in the winter. So you can see right now it's blooming. It's putting on new growth. Winter is the season where it's happiest. And right now you can see that it's about 10 feet tall. I got it when it was about 4 feet tall, and it's done great in this area. One thing I want to talk about in this video is none of the trees I'm going to show you do I cover with frost fabric. And that's one of the things I want to do less and less of, which is work. I just want to enjoy my garden, not have to come out every day and do something that's work with it. And I've never covered this tree with frost fabric, even when it was 4 feet tall. And it never had any cold damage where we get down to 25 degrees Fahrenheit in my yard. Now it does have some issues in the summer where it doesn't like full Arizona sun, but today we're talking about the winter. And this is one of the greatest winter trees because you're also going to be getting fruit in the spring. So as these flowers develop, it's going to look super beautiful. It's just covered in blooms, and then it gets covered in the little golden fruit. And we did a full video on the Loquat tree in the past where you can see where we taste the fruit. This particular variety is called Golden Nugget. It's one of the most common and delicious varieties of Loquat that there is. So this is one of the most highly recommended trees I can think of for those marginal environments, so zone 8, zone 9, and you don't even have to think about it. And right now, that's winter for our Loquat. The next tree we're going to talk about, or set of trees, is citrus. And citrus just looks so good in the winter because that's when the fruit are starting to turn yellow-orange and are almost ready to eat. So this is an Arizona sweet orange. I have several varieties of other citruses that we'll show, but pretty much all citrus, it's fine down to 25 degrees Fahrenheit, and I never cover it. In fact, the fruit tastes even better after the first freeze. So you can eat it now. We juiced oranges for mimosas this past weekend, but it wasn't super sweet yet. In a few weeks, when we get our first frost, it'll be super sweet. So citrus is just one of the best trees to put in for marginal climates if you want to have a beautiful evergreen that's full of fruit for the entire winter. And let me show you a couple other ones. I have a tangelo tree that you can see is just covered in fruit as well. Next to it, there's an Oro Blanco, and this one didn't have any fruit this year. For whatever reason, it looked a little bit sickly in summer. Sometimes citrus can get a little bit burnt up in our summers, but I don't like to cover my trees or deal with it. And again, I don't cover in summer or winter for citrus. And the last one I'll show you here is this Chandler Red Pomelo. This one has a ton of new growth on it just in the past week. A lot of citrus, they like that November into December climate. So it's getting cold, but citrus like it. And they're cold hardy trees down to about 25 degrees Fahrenheit. There is one other variety of citrus that we'll talk about that's even more cold hardy than these. So let's talk about it. Now the most cold hardy citrus tree that I know of is the kumquat, and it gets down to about 15 degrees Fahrenheit where it's totally fine. And this is another one that gets beat up in the summer a little bit if you leave it in full sun, but in the winter you don't have to cover this at all. It's kind of a smaller, more compact citrus tree, And you might assume because it's smaller, less vigorous, that it's less cold hardy, but actually it's even more cold hardy than the oranges and the tangelos that we just showed you. And it's a beautiful tree. So kumquat is just this really type of tree that you can put in small places. I have it right next to my house. I would never put like a big orange or tangelo tree right next to my house, but a kumquat I'm fine with. And you can really control the growth. You can really just shape it how you want it to look. And you can see all this new growth that comes in the fall and winter months. And normally this does put on fruit around this time. It's a little bit later, so it flowers later, and then the fruit is a little bit later than like oranges. This one had some blooms, they fell off. My other kumquats, I have 3 of them. That one over there is blooming, but this one, not so much. So you can see over here, we have another kumquat right under an orange tree, and this one has a few fruits on it. You can see what they look like. They're much smaller fruits than an orange, but they're that citrusy taste. They're a little bit more sour and tart, but you can use them in other ways, like for cooking or cutting up and putting in drinks, or spa water is what we often use it for. So kumquat is one of those where if you live in like zone 8 and you're worried about, my citrus is gonna freeze, you can plant one of these and you'll be fine. You can even plant these in a pot because they're pretty small trees. So kumquat is a pretty versatile tree that I think people should plant a lot more of, and they're just beautiful all throughout the winter. If you're interested in the citrus trees in my yard, I have 13 varieties, and we made a video which you could click on above and watch the full overview and tour of the 13 varieties of citrus in my yard. Now, the next variety of tree we're going to talk about is the avocado. And these are surprisingly cold hardy. You never really assume that, you never hear that in a lot of gardening channels. People are afraid of their avocado getting frost damage. I've never had that. I have 25 Fahrenheit in my yard. I get frosts multiple times in the year. I'm pretty far outside of Phoenix, so we're much colder than the city. And I don't protect my avocados at all in the winter. This is a seedling avocado. This is an aravaipa avocado. They're 20 feet plus tall, and the only damage they ever get is in the summer. They don't get damaged in the winter. And these trees are ones that are actually growing and putting on new growth in the winter. Now, I haven't had any fruit yet, but the real reason I plant avocados is because I think they're beautiful evergreen trees that give you that lush tropical look. And I know when I'm in the Phoenix area, I'm gonna obviously try for fruit, but I'm not planting these so that I can have an avocado farm where I'm selling the fruit all the time or eating it every day. This is a tree that looks beautiful to me, and that's why it's here, and it does great in the winter. So if you're thinking about, oh, I have this avocado I'm afraid of, I'm gonna have to baby it all the time, only baby it in the summer. But in the winter, you can kind of just let these go. And I have 5 varieties of avocados in my yard, so there's several varieties that do really well. There's zutano, fuerte, mexicola, this seedling, and I think if you're looking for the hardiest avocado, this aravaipa. It's fine in summer or winter, and it doesn't care, it just takes it. So avocado is one where you can have a beautiful, lush yard, even in the winter. So the next tree we're going to talk about is the white sapote, and that's the one in front of me here. It's been in my yard for almost 2 years now, so it's been through one winter uncovered. It really doesn't care about the winter. Again, this one is one that I protected in the summer, but in the winter it's fine. It's actually the growing season for this tree, so it has new growth. All of this down here is new from the last couple weeks, and this is one that it takes about 2 years in the ground. And then after it's in the ground for 2 years, it really starts to grow fast. So it's one that has delayed benefit, but doesn't really require that much care. And it's a fruit that is delicious, that you can't get in a grocery store. So white sapote is just a beautiful evergreen tree. I have it kind of in the back of my yard, almost as like part of the privacy hedge, because it's very lush, very full, and you can see just how beautiful this tree is. So I think this is one that there should be more of in my area in 9B, because it's just a rare type of fruit that's easy to care for and looks beautiful in the winter. Now, this is the contrast that I want to show you. This is the tree that I think is the ugliest in the winter. It's the Chinese jujube. It's delicious, one of my favorite fruits, but it's one of the first to lose its leaves and one of the last to grow its leaves back. So it just looks bare like this for 5 months out of the year. And the other trees that I showed you today are ones that just stay evergreen, stay beautiful, stay lush, can give you privacy, fruit throughout the winter. So I wish that I had even more of those evergreen beauties in my yard and maybe a few less of these, just because for 5 months out of the year, it's just sad. And I think that I love these trees, I love the fruit, but boy are they ugly in the winter. And it's almost half the year. So I really want you to think about what type of evergreen fruit trees would make your yard look even more lush, because I think in Phoenix, at least where I live in a desert, it's so nice to come up to a tree that's just full of leaves, very lush and green in the middle of winter, and just be surprised by what you see in the garden. So I really want you to plant more of those type of trees that we showed today. So today we talked about my 4 favorite cold hardy fruit trees. Those are the loquat, the avocado, citrus, and white sapote. I hope you enjoyed this video, that you learned something. If you did, please like the video, and if you haven't yet, please subscribe. We talk about rare, exotic, and fun trees growing in a harsh environment. I'm here outside of Phoenix, Arizona. It's a very harsh environment, and as you can see, we grow a lot of very cool stuff on this channel. So please subscribe, tell a friend about it, share it with people who love gardening too, and I'll see you again next time.